In October of 1972, I was a weapons systems officer in the backseat of a Phantom F-4E airplane flying out of Ubon, Thailand. The mission we did was called FASTFAC. Spent our time low to the ground in North Vietnam checking out targets for other fighters to control, put bombs on. And in the course of the mission, my front seater Jim and I were hit. Airplane was hit, the wing came off, we ejected. Both of us were captured by the North Vietnamese. We were in North Vietnam, obviously, that would be North Vietnamese. And spent the next 6 months of my life as a prisoner of war. About a month right near the area where I was captured, I was roped up, my elbows tied back, shoulders dislocated, and marched around the local people. And people threw rocks at me and spit on me and several things like that. Eventually, my front seater Jim and I started making our way north. The Vietnamese were taking us north toward Hanoi. We got partway there. We're kept in another house, in a room, kind of a cell room, for about 2 or 3 weeks. We spent 12 hours a day shackled by our ankles together. One shackle on each one of our ankles with a bar that connected them, so we couldn't do any moving. We eventually got to Hanoi and were put into an area of the Hanoi Hilton called Heartbreak Hotel. We were separated. I spent a total of 60 days in solitary. By Christmas of '72, when the Christmas bombing began, they brought a bunch of other prisoners from another camp called the Zoo into the Hanoi Hilton where Jim and I were, and we integrated with them and moved around in a couple different locations within that area. Eventually being moved back to the camp, to the Zoo with that group. The Christmas bombing obviously brought about pretty much the end of the war. It was fantastic to see it. Obviously for us, it was quite something. Finally, on the 29th of March of '73, we were released and flew back to the Philippines. Flown to the Philippines to the hospital where they took us in and deloused us and gave us uniform clothes, that sort of thing, and finally repatriated back to the States in April. And I resumed my Air Force career, went to pilot training, and spent the rest of my Air Force career flying in the Phantom and from the front seat as well. And I retired from active duty on the 1st of August of 1990. Since then, I've been doing several things. I flew quite a bit for the next 4 or 5 years, and I now work for American Airlines as an instructor pilot in American Airlines' simulators.